speaker को बुलाऊं, and who is none other than Captain Gajajanan Karanjikar, no stranger to the maritime field. But let me introduce to the, I see there are more than 50% or 60% people over here who are non-mariners. For the benefit of them, let me introduce Captain Gajajanan Karanjikar. Can you see it on my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Captain Gajajanan Karanjikar is the president of All India Marine Pilots Association, head of coastal shipping, a blue economy activist, multimodal transport expert for Sequel Logistics Limited, head of integrated logistics solution and new business initiative. He's a master mariner with 30 years of diversified experience in shipping business and related operations, and founder of MFG. Oh, it sounds similar to MTG. Professional strengths, conversational leadership, metamorphic leader, strong business acumen and business development, strategic solution provider, ship management operations and training, new business idea initiative. I'll stop my share screen and over to you, Captain Gajajanan.
Hello, everyone. Good evening to you all. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Captain Nigam. And amongst all dignitaries and eminent personalities, and when two big educationists have spoken, for me, I'm no expert in blue economy. I mean, this is a little bit caveat before I could start my presentation. That I'm merely a student of blue economy, and because of my maritime background, like you said, 50% of people here are from there. We want to create an awareness about the blue economy, because blue economy is all about ocean and the water bodies and their health. My presentation is going to focus mainly on that, and because there is a lot of awareness requires to be generated. I will share my screen shortly, and we'll start without further ado. 1 minute. Just give me a second. Not a prediction here. Yeah, here.
The green button at the bottom.
No, I saw it, but I couldn't see the slide. Okay.
Yes.
And there is another caveat here before I start is that economy is a very vast subject, multidimensional, and what I want to speak here is going to be a tip of the iceberg, even fraction of the iceberg, I must say. Ounce they call it. So please take this as an introductory speech. I'm not going to reveal any big ideas or big numbers or something like that. But as I'm told that the many attending this webinar are not mariners, not from maritime background, but they do need to know about the economy. So here is my attempt to present to all Gurujans and dignitaries and eminent personalities here. Let's talk about what is blue economy. I mean, both the speakers have said about sustainability, and this is also another attempt of having a development, having an economy which is based on the water resources and oceanic activities in a healthy manner. So the policies that determine whether the use of ocean resources is sustainable or not is what is the blue economy all about. We have a traditional uses of oceans and non-traditional uses of ocean, like emerging sectors. So both these are going to be contributing factors, and the development is going to be contributing factors to this. We are not we are aware of the traditional sectors like fisheries and shipping and maritime tourism, etc. But offshore energy, aquaculture, seabed mining, bioprospecting, something that we are yet to know from the first world and yet to explore on our Indian shores. But the initial presentation of slide is about the world as economy. So because we have only one ocean, and there are no two oceans, maybe different names, but there's only one ocean and one world. Collaboration across nation states, across the public-private sectors is one of the very key areas of blue economy, and it defines blue economy that way. Let's see what is the blue economy's background. As I spoke to you about the traditional sectors of blue economy, Now, these traditional sectors have been there for, time immemorial. So fishing has been there for last 40,000 years. I mean, we've been using ocean and fish as protein supplement for all that much of time. Concept of transport on water has been around since 7,500 BC. Concept of ports have been around since 4,500 BC. I know shipbuilding, of course, India takes pride in, having one of the top class shipbuilding yard in Gujarat. So, I mean, that dates about 3,500 BC. Let's see what is the known ground of economic. We know that 70% of the earth contains 70% of water, nearly 80% of the world population living on the coastal regions, 90% of world trade happening by sea or by sea route. So thus the oceans have always been very centric to human life. And they're serving the ocean, they're serving the humans to a greater extent. So having said that, the oceans, the sea lanes, sea routes are the major transport highways. They're rich in oil, minerals, and resources. We are that the most energies are being tapped out of them. Apart from the uses of the surface, and subsurface, on the subsurface side also, we have a ocean as a, though it is a greater support of oxygen supply to animal life on planet, but they are also great absorbers of CO2. And with the climate change today, the absorption of CO2 and removal of the greenhouse gases emission is key. So there are also virtual heat sinks and rich in biodiversity. They say about 95% of the ocean is yet not known to. I mean, subsurface of the ocean is not known to the human being so far. We have a lot to explore there, and there's a lot of opportunity. Not only the oceans represent the largest long-term sink for carbon, but some 93% of the Earth's CO2 is stored and cycled through the ocean. This is a very important statement because most of us don't know about it. That's why you need to have very cleaner oceans, and we need to be very aware of the pollutions that we create through a general life pattern of ours into ocean. But very importantly, they are not unending resources. The way the human life is evolving, we have development strategies and plans of economic development, developing countries. The ocean source, which is the biggest resource, is going to be, is going to be there where we need to be very worrying about it a lot. Over the past decades, sustainability has become a key word, and oceans have come under the youth tourism. We all have seen in maritime regulations how the ocean health has come into the picture. Let's look at definitions of blue economy. I mean, everybody has defined the economy, in different ways. This term was introduced first, as a philosophy of blue economy by Dr. Gunter Pauli in 1994 at United Nations University. And of course, in 2010, he wrote a book, The Blue Economy, 10 Years, 100 Innovations, and 100 Million Jobs. And that book is really enlightening. 2015, Prime Minister Modi spoke about it in Mauritius conference about India's blue economy. In all these four definitions of World Bank, European Commission, Commonwealth nations, United Nations, the one common thing is about the sustainability. All economic activities that we may intend to do to use the ocean as a resource or use water body as a resource, it has to be sustainable. Simple definition of sustainability is that the actions today should not impair the future generations. So period. That's it. So the blue resources are not creating resources. So we need to have sustainable approach to them. What is the importance of blue economy? Why do you need to worry about blue economy? What is so contributory in blue economy today? 1 out of 10 livelihoods depend upon fisheries for protein supplement of food. Ocean economy, the value as suggested now is 4 to 5% of your GDP. So we talk about $100 billion in India, and in the world it talks about $3 trillion, and it's going to be soon $6 trillion because of the explorations and the increasing of the transportation of goods. 90% of goods traded internationally are shipped across the oceans that we already saw. And the ocean tourism industry, which is of course, not a budding industry as such, but over the last decade, has taken a great shape. And okay, of course, because of the pandemic, now the cruise shipping and everything has come to a standstill. The contingency spread of virus, but it is growing that fast that it will double the value between 2010 to 2030. Oceans are largest carbon sink, which I explained to you. The sustainability comes with small island development states, because there are small island development states where their entire economy of the country depends only on the ocean resources, and the actions done by the developing country who also have other resources of economic development, those can impair their the livelihood of the small island development states. So because the Japan, for that matter, also it's not a small island, not developing state as such, but the entire economy is on the fish protein. Blue economy, again, the importance, marine transport and coastal tourism, 5% of the global GDP is a contribution of marine transport and tourism alone. And 7% of global employment in marine transport tourism comes from the water resources. And 13 of 20 global megacities are coastal cities. You see the amount of development that is happening around the ocean. Marine biosources supply 4.3 billion people in the world out of 7.2 or 7.3 billion now. More than 15% of the annual supply of protein, and that's the kind of we look at the food supply to the human beings. 30% of the global oil and gas are extracted out of oceans and offshore. That's the energy requirement first. But what has happened to these oceans? These oceans are at the moment, at the peak of the risk of climate change, of illegal fishing, of the long-term sustainability and short-term growth plans, and scarcity of the sustainable aquaculture production modules, and again the pollution, which we talk about always, marine pollution and things like that, as mariners know. There is 80% of pollution of oceans happens from land-based resources. I mean, mind you, this is what one of the reasons that I want to stress upon this to the non-maritime professionals. I mean, of course, the educationists here also, and there are also the college professors and students attending this program. That we need to stop this. Whether it is use of fertilizer, chemicals in the farms, soil erosion, industrial waste, or it could be anything. But it all amounts to the polluting the ocean, because all things lead to the ocean in the end. There are certain United Nations conference when they in 2015 they decided on the 17 sustainable development goals. The life below water came as goal number 14. Mind you that when the MDGs came, Million Development Goals came in 2000, there was no mention of oceans. I mean, this is what very very limited focus on ocean was given. What for what? I mean, why? But then the world needed to look at it after the blue economy and the possible philosophy of the economy on blue economy came on water resources. So SDG 14 defines exactly the goal of life below water is conserve and sustainability use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. That is the key. There are about 10 targets which are given. Ocean pollution is one of the first targets. Coastal and marine ecosystems and development of the ecosystems and protection of ecosystem comes as a second target. Ocean acidification is the biggest problem today, as I told you, due to the ocean being a carbon sink. Regulation on fishing, overfishing happening. I always say in a few of the seminars that Indian Ocean is the only ocean where the fishes die of old age. But because of our lesser fishing capabilities in India and lesser promoted activity as such, but all of the world, part of the world like China, Japan, overfishing is very prominent. Conservation of marine protected areas is one of the very important things that we have. These reefs and underwater life around the coast and around in the ocean, which needs to be continental shelf, which needs to be protected. Subsidies on fisheries is one of the targets of SDG, because you see, unless we target these kind of objectives, the sustainability and the economy from the ocean resources will not come forward. Science and marine technology, small island development and economy, conventional fishing and implementation of international laws for sustainable use of oceans. UNFCCC has come, biodiversity has come. There are many conventions which are now taking shape through the Sustainable Development Code. At least they have a framework now from 2015 onwards, to work on the objectives of those conventions, this Earth Summit or whatever you can say. What are the challenges the economy faces? Since the blue economy depends largely on the ocean, oceanic health, access to the ocean and water bodies in the world, we have a threat of seaborne terror, piracy, armed robbery, maritime terrorism, illicit trade in crude oil, arms and drugs, human trafficking. It's all going to be having a negative impact on the use of oceans for the economy and resources. Natural disasters like storms, cyclones, tsunamis also have a lot of impact on this economic extraction of the ocean resources. Man-made problems, oil spills, climate change continues to risk the stability of the maritime domain. We need to understand that this is a maritime domain, and somebody was talking about the linking of the NEP to maritime education. I mean, this is one of the creating a maritime domain. I have a slide in hand which says about what is in it. What is in it for the blue economy for the maritime universities and other universities as well, which we'll discuss that time. But this is the development of maritime domain is something which is very important and very critical. Impact of climate change, sea temperatures, acidity, threatening to marine life habitat is all there. Marine pollution in form of excess nutrients from the untreated sewage, agricultural runoff, marine debris such as plastics, and microplastics is creating a havoc into the into the fishes when they swallow this kind of small plastics, microplastics. So marine pollution is going to be a big challenge for the blue economy. And over-exploitation of marine resources, illegal, unreported, and unregulated extraction of marine resources, whether it is, seabed mining, we have not started yet, but of course, the oil exploration is there on offshore side. Also, illegal fishing activity is there, and all these things are happening. And under the terms of experiments, in extra economical zone, EEZ, we still have bioprospecting experiments going on. Let's look at the Indian perspective of it. What is the blue capital of India? I mean, necessarily I call it the blue capital of India because this is what resources we have in India. And this, if put in perspective, then we would know as to what kind of a volume are we talking about? Because the new draft policy of the economy has come, and the work on which they started by the working group in 2018, we had put in some suggestions to them as well, and those suggestions are taken in to form a framework as to understand how the policy to be made, how it's to be acted into the maritime domain as well as the non-maritime education sectors. And we have a coastal line of 7,516 kilometers. EEZ is about 2.37 million square meters. Islands we have brackish waters, rivers, canals, dams, reservoirs, you name it, and we have. And if you see the development of aquaculture, only 9% of these resources are being used. The land-based resources are being used for the blue economy today. So if you have to really use all other 91%, there is a risk of the overutilization, pollution, things like that. But it will definitely add to a economic gain. As I just spoke about I just want to touch upon the national focus as to what India is doing about it. As I spoke about the blue economy policy. These are the 7 focus areas which were defined in that, because it's a vast subject. I mean, it's something like, which is beyond comprehension at times for the people who have not been associated with the maritime domain. So, I mean, of course, ocean governance is one of the very critical angle. India being situated with very friendly neighbors. I mean, friendly in inverted commas. We need to have a national security is one of our very, very big concerns on the ocean side. The coastal maritime spatial planning and tourism is of course, one of the very focus areas, because everything has to be done in the sustainability as a core agenda of it. Marine fisheries, aquaculture, fish processing, these are the industries which are going to be, very important in coming decades to support the blue economy. Manufacturing, emerging industry, trade, technology, skill development is what the universities which are trying to bridge the gap between the land-based education and the maritime education can look at as to how to develop the skill, bring in the maritime awareness, and maritime universities can look at bringing the maritime character into the students. So the skill development certainly on the cards as one of the priority areas. Logistics infrastructure. Every exploration of the maritime or oceanic resource will require logistic support 100% because without that cannot be linked to the hinterland or to the markets or the products cannot be linked. So shipping also plays a very important role. Coastal and deep sea mining, these are all areas which are need to be explored. And policy document very clearly says that this policy, a draft policy of 2021, which necessarily says that to create a framework whereas we have to need to measure the potentials of the economy. And now the efforts are going to start on the measuring the potentials in deep sea mining and the offshore energy. Security, strategic dimensions, and international engagements are one of the very important areas for the development of the economy because there's only one ocean. What is action plan of India? Apart from all definitions, after you read to the document completely and also the other document published by the other nations, the Indian government has rightly so understood that there is no particular definition of the economy. It cannot be defined in words because it's vast, it's multidimensional, it's intersectoral. So there are many ministries involved in this. The fisheries ministries come under the Ministry of Animal Husbandry, and shipping is under the shipping ministry. Earlier it was under the road transport ministry, and we have a separate ministry for the inland waterways. The link to the shipping ministry now. So India is now going to strive for an efficient and sustainable utilization of ocean resources. Why? To integrate and boost ocean-related capabilities, capacities, and skills. So three things very important: capabilities of the oceans to understand, capacities and skills to build. So these two are the takeaways in defining the blue economy as this thing. Why? Again, to accelerate employment and gross value addition by safeguarding the environment in harmony with the UN SDG. UN SDG is going to be focused, and this is going to be applauded by the world because we are given a very important place for the sustainable development goals in our policy making. And this is New India. Significantly enhance, India is trying to significantly enhance the contribution of the economy to the national GDP. That's very important. That's the idea, because if you talk about 4 to 5% of the national GDP, you're talking about $100 billion of per year inclusion, into the national grid. We already have a Sagarmala program and port-led developments and things like that going on, where the lives of the coastal communities are very important because the maximum population lives in the world as well on the coastal sea. So preserve the marine biodiversity is still subject which is being deliberated again and again. It's all counterproductive because the shipping increases, the experimentation increases, then the biodiversity gets disturbed. That's why UN has very clearly said by 2020, 2025 now, a 5 years increase, that we need to identify 10% of our EEZ area as marine protected areas. And I believe we are almost there in identifying the areas now. And of course, the plans will be handed out to UN as to what needs to be done there. Maintain the security of our marine areas and resources. Security is a big concern for India on the ocean side. So because of the past history and things like that. What is the way ahead action plan? The government looks at constituting a group of experts which can identify sectors, subsector activities. And this is where the maritime domain knowledge, the inclusion of maritime experts will come in play as to whether it is a fisheries community, whether it is a coastal tourism, or it is a tourism industry, or it is a shipping, or energy industry, or whatever, petroleum, or whatever. So it also looking at developing suitable scientific tools and methodologies for measurements. This is very important because nothing can be based without having a scientific tool for development and having a tangible goals as to what needs to be achieved in the economy. This is a vast term and very vague kind of broad spectrum it covers. Collection of data. We are a very data poor country in India. We don't have up-to-date data of day-to-day operations happening in shipping as well as on fishing side and as well as on the tourism side. So the collection of data is one of the big goals of this framework of policy. Commerce periodical studies on specific sectors, because some sectors which are traditional, as I said, which are already there, and they need to really enhance, augment those sectors into the specific data collection and study them. Skill development is also one of the very important area, because we don't have enough skill set, into the developing scientific tools and methodologies now. Start creating that. Blue economy related education program. This is what we will talk about in the last slide as to what we can do, what the universities can do and where we can, link this with the skill-based and competency-based education. The NEP. This is the framework what we're talking about. So formation of National Blue Economic Council is what is being envisaged now by government. And it should include aspects of all offshore sovereignty, because offshore sovereignty is something which India wants to exercise right from the beginning. And overall evaluation and monitoring of blue economy schemes, projects, targets, is one of the important thing as well. Guidelines and directive for for the objective of policies also into the framework. And again, ministries and departments of development or international cooperation. Nothing can happen without the international cooperation and interlinking because the ocean links to the other nations to us. If you talk about Bangladesh, there's an ocean there's a sea between us and Bangladesh. If you talk about the western side of it. So unless we develop those international cooperation capacity building and hand-holding by the other countries as well, and help other countries, India has fairly good control over the Indian Ocean, naval as well as maritime warfare as well as the ocean governance. This thing. Sorry. Okay. Provide guidance and directive towards the tariff. So is also one of the very important, for subsidy negotiations and all that.
Sorry to interrupt, Capt.Gajajan. Can we quickly wrap up now?
Sure. Just about 2-3 slides, maybe more. Right share stopped or no? Okay, what India has done so far? India was the first to formulate the Department of Ocean Development in 1981. So our focus towards ocean has been that old. Sagarmala, Bharatmala projects, OSMART is something, ocean services modeling, application and resources technology is what has been envisaged by Ministry of Earth Sciences. Coastal economic zones, blue growth initiative is one of the important policies for the national fisheries policy. National economic policy, again, MOES is the nodal agency for that. This is going to be a game changer program, which is going to be launched by India probably in next 3 months' time. We have very successful Swachh Bharat mission so far. And from there, India is taking the lead into the Swachh Bharat, Swachh Prithvi and Swachh Sagar. So one earth, one ocean is the theme. 80% population is from land base. And this will take India into a global platform and we will lead global in Swachh Prithvi and Swachh Sagar. Like we let them in the solar kind of thing. Conclusion. Just one more slide to go after this. But that they have, blue economy has a great potential to successfully add to our $5 trillion economic goal. Again, it's a maritime prowess. We can call India if we really develop the sectors. And many sectors are not tapped, which are developing skills now. Making India skill development will have sustainable growth and social equity, of course, is one of the very key aspects. What is it for universities? This is one of the very key things. As we can look at delivering technical expertise on conservation, sustainable development. Very important. And there needs to be a syllabus included, in school domains as well. Leveraging local knowledge relationship, creating holistic and integrated approach to all sector society are one of the key objectives of national education policy. Create a research methodology and talent in shipping is also there, and talent required for implementation SDGs. Lead in maritime cultural exchange. So culture, of course, there are bodies working on this. Growth of maritime consciousness is very important. We need to look at sea as a conscious affair and creating the knowledge base on the economy. This is where the universities, other universities, other than maritime, can maritime be, but then can come into this. And for anything which is of business venture, sustainability is the only business plan, nothing else. Thank you very much. I really thank Captain Nigam, MTG, for giving this opportunity to speak in front of this eminent crowd. Most of them are my Gurujans and my mentors and my professors and teachers. So I'm really, thankful to you for this opportunity and present my small paper. I'm in no way expert in this field, but small attempt to create awareness. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Capt.Gajajan.
My video was off. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a very good presentation, and like you mentioned right at the beginning that it's a huge topic and you cannot really, what you did was just give an overview.